Welcome back, everyone. Finally warmed up a little around here where we can get back in the shop and do something. Off camera the other night, I did split the rest of the Allis B apart. We've got the final drives separated from the transmission and got the torque tube off. It got pretty sketchy trying to get all that apart, so I didn't film any of it. But we've got the transmission up here on the bench, and I've already got the PTO drive pulled off of it. It's not quite as rough as the engine was, but still pretty rough. So I'm hoping the front half of the transmission, where all the transmission, the sliding gears and main shaft, counter shaft, all that, I'm hoping it's in a little better shape. I haven't opened that compartment yet, but I'm going to try to figure out a way to get y'all set up here somewhere. I forgot to grab the adapter to mount the phone to the tripod. So I've got a little tripod here I'm going to try to make work, but I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, let's get started, and we'll get this differential out, and I'll show you what we found there, and we'll see if we can get the gears and everything out of the transmission, get it all torn down tonight. So let's get busy. Hopefully this will work up there. I've got you all set on top of my bead blaster cabinet. So what we need to do is pull this bearing retainer off of this side, and there's one on the other side we need to pull off, and then we can get the differential out of it. Okay, let's see if we can get that bearing retainer pulled out. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull the bolts out of the other side as well. Roll this over a little. Looks like we've got two shims on that side. Get that over here. The bearing's not locked up. It's pretty rusty, but it's not locked up. All right, now let's see if we can get the one off the other side here. Without damaging any shims. And yeah, boogered one of them up. Oh well. I boogered one up just a little bit. That's okay. Looks like we've got two on that side as well. No, three. There's three on this side. Okay, so we'll keep all those together. Now, wiggle the differential out one way or another. There we go. Okay, take y'all off the, I'll just bring the whole tripod and everything down here. This is what I found when I pulled the PTO drive off the other day. This thing hadn't had near as much water in it as the, oh, there's that PTO drive bolt I misplaced the other day. Anyway, hadn't had as much water in it as the engine has. I mean, up here, there's some rust on the gear teeth, but those would clean up. Down here where it's set, you can see where it has ate off a bunch of the metal all the way around here where it's set in water. So you can see how thick the mud and dirt and everything in there was. But so far, I mean, the input shaft and everything turns in the transmission, so hopefully that's a good sign that the rest of that in the front compartment may be okay. We'll set the differential up here out of the way. As you can see right off the end of my finger there, the screwdriver pointed out, right off the end of that screwdriver is that clip. When you get that pulled out, then the shifter will come out and we can take the side plate off. There we go. Now there's another little like spacer down in here, looks like. If I can get it to come up out of there. There we go. Now, shifter come up, and surprisingly doesn't look like the shifter is too bad for wear. I've seen them where they're just worn plumb off. Maybe. You guys don't fall off. Them little impact drivers are sure nice. I want to remind you guys too, don't forget here before long, we've got our 500 subscriber giveaway coming up as soon as we hit 500. I think we're at 471 right now. So don't forget that y'all like and share this video and get the word out. When we hit 500, I've got all the giveaway stuff in my toolbox at work ready to go. Shift forks don't look like they're too terribly worn. Okay. Set that off to the side somewhere. Set it under the bench. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can get this front bearing cap off over here off the end. And we'll see if we can get the input shaft out of it. Got shims there. Seal in it. Everything there looks pretty good. Have something a little more stout than that. I think it's moving. Yeah, it's moving. She's moving. I really think that the counter shaft and the sliding gears may have to come out first. Oh, big nut. And yes, again, I know, chrome socket, impact, not a good idea. But I don't have an impact socket that big. Okay, that nut just didn't like being on camera, I guess. As soon as I got that bent out of the way a little more and I turned the camera off, save on battery, and hit it with the impact, and it zipped right off of there. So anyway, let's see now if we can start driving that shaft out. I really need a brass punch, but there, it fell out. Okay, now pull that bearing out, which actually doesn't look too bad for wear. Okay, now we can roll it back over. Oh no, I can get them all out right there. Pull the pinion shaft out. That bearing's pretty tight. Then we'll pull the sliding gears off. They've got, yeah. What I was afraid of. They're chewed off too. Darn it, man. We're almost out now. Putting a socket on the end of that, driving on that old bearing race for that PTO bearing. And there went the bearing for the race. I have no idea where it went. Why do you keep wanting to be stubborn? be tight all the way out. But we do have one of our gears is loose off the splines. Yeah, it's just a tight fit on those splines. Everything's kind of rusted together. Probably not the right, correct, and proper way to do this, but it seems to be working. I've got this slide hammer tied onto this bearing here. So far, it seems to be working. If we can get it past that first one, I think I can slide the other two down off of it. Problem is, we're also pulling that bearing off in the process. Okay. What we were fighting was the splines on here. Had a lot of rust and grime in them. I had to pull that gear for the PTO drive off of it the other day too, with a puller. So anyway, we got that off now. Now I think all that's left in there is the reverse idler. And looking at these input shaft gears, I think that they're okay. Spacer looks to be okay. Yeah, I think those will clean up. We can reuse those. But we are going to have to find a set of sliding gears and a ring and pinion. And this is the inner bearing off the input shaft. This old tractor, she's had a rough life. But that's okay. We will bring her back one way or another. All right, let's see if I can get down in there and get that reverse idler out of there. Pretty unorthodox way of doing this too, but that pin's kind of frozen in that bushing. It's coming. I've just got this little hook hooked into the slot right there that holds that pin in. And you just there it is. Okay. There's our pin. I guess there's not bushings in there. That's actually got bearings in it that are pretty well shot. All right, guys. We've got a lot of parts to clean up and a few to find. Like I said, behind me on the bench here, got a mess to clean up all the way around, but I think the gears, the sliding, or not the sliding gears, but the input shaft gears, I think they'll be okay. I think we can clean them up and reuse them. Of course, we're going to have to get all new bearings, which I was planning on that anyway. Reverse idler gear, the gear itself is good. The bearing, not so much. But there again, I don't go through anything without putting new bearings in it. So, new bearings, new seals, everything. Sliding gears on the counter shaft, that's another story. They're not as bad as that ring gear on the differential, but they're in pretty sad shape. I've mentioned it before, I do know where there is one of these tractors that has been broken half that I'm pretty sure probably has a good transmission and rear end in it, that we can maybe salvage the differential assembly and the counter shaft sliding gear assembly out of it. So, which I was going to have to replace that shaft anyway, even if these gears had been good, because you don't want to put, a different ring gear with a different pinion. So that pinion shaft is going to have to be replaced anyway. I think that's about it for this. I'll clean up a bunch of parts and kind of assess things a little more. I did, over there in my file cabinet the other day, I did get the manual for this finally, the parts manual and service manual and all that. So I'll get bearing numbers and all that cross-reference, get those ordered, find a set of gears for it somewhere. We may, probably the next B episode will be tearing into a final drive. I've got them sitting over on the floor. They do turn fairly freely, actually, and no strange growling noises or anything coming out of them. You turn the axle shaft going, the input to the final drive, and the hub, it turns freely, and everything works like it should. So, of course, they'll have to have all new bearings and seals in them, and new brake shoes, probably new brake drums, springs, all that good stuff. And probably, I'm hoping all the gears in them are good. Might be the only part of this tractor that is good. But we're not going to give up on it yet. I come real close a time or two. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I pulled that differential, or that PTO assembly off the other day, and I saw that damage on that ring gear, I almost just threw in the towel right there, because that's another reason it's taken me a few days to get another video uploaded, because I was about to the point of giving up, and I just had to walk away and pedal on some other stuff. Of course, then it got cold, and the bowl kept getting out. We had to fight with that. So, but we're not going to give up on it yet. This is Save the Bee project, and we're going to save the bee. I'm not giving up. So, I will tell you, there will be some lapses in footage on this while we're finding parts and all that, because parts for these are around here anyway are pretty hard to find. So I'm going to have to either make a road trip or have stuff shipped in. But I do have some other stuff to keep busy, keep the feed going. We've got the M over there. I need to get a carburetor for it, get it back together. The little A over here, you guys remember when we got it running? The governor's sticking on it, and the impulse in the mag just doesn't quite feel right. When you're cranking it, sometimes it doesn't seem like that impulse snaps like it should. And I've got behind me over here on this shelf that also needs to be moved, and yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to organize the shop. But I've got a brand new, not brand new, but a rebuilt H4 mag over there on the shelf that I'm going to put on that tractor. And we need to pull the governor off, clean it, because it's pretty sticky. You guys probably heard that. We were pulling this B off the trailer. It was kind of sticking a little. So, but we've got that to do. Not going to tell you what it is yet, but I may have acquired another tractor. I'm not sure when it's going to show up yet, but it'll be a fun one to try to revive and get running. Probably not going to do a lot to it. I just want to see if I can make it run. It was a free tractor, so bring it out here, see if we can make it run. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, though, because I don't want to ruin the surprise. So anyway, I think that's about it for tonight. I'm going to get off here and probably head to town, get cleaned up, and head into town, get ready to eat supper, and go back to work tomorrow. I'll start sourcing parts for this, and we'll tear into the final drives next. Hopefully by the time we get the final drives tore down, I have found all the parts to put that back together. And I'll clean that case up, strip it down to bare metal, be ready for primer and paint this spring. And we'll rebuild that transmission, get it back together. And we can wrap it up in plastic, set it in the corner, and move on to the next piece. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. And like I said, don't forget, coming up here pretty soon, we're at 471 right now. So we hit 500 subscribers. I've got a pretty awesome giveaway package to give away to one lucky winner. So the main part of that package is one of a kind. There will never be another one like it. It's handmade by my mother. So y'all stay tuned for that, and we'll see you on the next one.